Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Cade Museum for our meeting here on March 16th, the eve of St. Patrick's Day of the Rotary Club of Gainesville. For those of you watching this after the fact on Zoom, actually after the fact on YouTube, please let us know that you watched it and register your participation by sending an email at info@rotarygainesville.org. That's info@rotarygainesville.org. We begin each meeting with song and pledge, and we have a special song today, but first, to introduce the wizard of our song today, I think he has a joke for us. It might be St. Patrick's Day oriented, but please welcome to the podium here, Pete Enwall.
Shut and be gutter. No, I can't tell that one. With the virus, you know, we all keep track of the celebrities that catch the virus, and we keep up with that, and everybody follows the news, I'm sure. How many people have got their second shot so far? Raise your hand. Yeah, a lot. Pretty soon we can take your mask off. Anyway, so John Travolta came down with a sort of a cough and a fever. He's worried. And so he went and got tested, and you know, he was tested negative for the virus, and it turned out it was just Saturday night fever. Bob Green is going to lead us in the song today, which is a special song.
Fantastic. Now, please remain standing for the pledge, and big thank you to both Gordon for our first flag that we have on the window there, and then Pete Enwall graciously donated this flag on the flagpole for our Rotary meetings here at the Cade Museum. Pete?
Will you join me in pledging allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Up next, please remain standing for our invocation delivered today via Zoom by Ian Fletcher. Ian.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. To the one that is always by our side, we say thank you for all things you've done to protect, deliver, and lead us through these times we've never seen before. As we begin to recover from this pandemic, make us stronger, smarter, and more understanding of each other. As Rotary works on implementing their programs, ensure they are successful and remain healthy and safe. Heal those in our club that is battling illness and lead them to a speedy recovery. Lift everyone dealing with depression and keep us safe as we provide service to this club and our community. Amen.
Thank you so very much, Ian. Do we have any guests with us today? If we have guests, please remain standing with your Rotary member who invited you.
Yes, Bill Herring from Statesboro, Georgia. I just saw it on the internet. Statesboro, Georgia.
Tomorrow is a holiday, as we know, for some of us. If you have any Irish blood, it's St. Patrick's Day, and in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, guess what we have today for you, everybody, here at our meeting? We have a poem from John Gregory. Yeah, via Zoom, John, take it away.
Okay, now we're good. This is a poem about St. Patrick's Day. It's called I Wish You Were Here. O'Malley pulled over for bad driving. Beers can't be the reason for trying. Cop been thinking, have you been drinking? That depends, said O'Malley. You buying? Daniel Boyd started to mumble. He drank plenty and wanted to rumble. He thought that he might get into a fight, but man yelled, let's get ready to stumble. The Irishman at airport did pout, tears on his cheeks, like he just lost a bout. He lost his luggage, you see. Friend asked, how could that be? McClary replied, the cork fell out. St. Patrick's will last till eternity. So will our Rotary fraternity. May you have Irish luck and never get stuck. May your suits all be green, not paternity.
Thank you so much, John. Now we have an announcement before we get to the bulk of the meeting here today. We have an announcement from our district governor-elect, Jeff Michelman, also via Zoom. Jeff, you're on.
All right, can you guys see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Terrific. All right, so thank you for inviting me. Chessie organized this. Matthew, thanks for setting it up. I really wish I could be with you in person. I look forward to doing that in the future. But the reason I'm here is we have some exciting news. And I see past District Governor Darrell in the audience today. He was working on this project. We've been working on this for about 7 years. We are excited to tell you we have a Florida Rotary license plate. And we need everybody to support this. We have to pre-sell 3,000 license plates before the state of Florida will start printing them. We were hoping that I would come visit you and tell you about an e-commerce solution. We don't have an e-commerce solution right now. We're trying to work with the state of Florida to get that to happen. However, if you go to FloridaRotaryTag.com, you can sign up and we will email you a link the minute we have it in an e-commerce solution. You can also go into the Alachua County local tag office and tell them that you'd like to reserve a Rotary plate. What's going to happen with this Rotary plate? 10% of it is going to go to administer the program. 10% of it is going to go to support Rotary Camp Florida, which is a camp over on the West Coast to support disabled kids. But 80% comes back to the 8 districts across the state on a pro rata basis based on the sales that we make. And I'm very hopeful that District 6970 is going to lead that. So right now you see an artist rendering, but we've gotten 1 sample plate. So it is really going to happen. We just need to get the pre-sales out there. As soon as we get to 3,000 in pre-sales, and it's $35 to register your place in line. All right, I want to update you on RILA. June 18th, 19th, I know this club has been very supportive of RILA. We've gone to a virtual format, very selective. It's already oversubscribed. The leadership, Kathy McNary in St. Augustine is the general chair. Meg Folds from San Marco is the program chair. And your own Julie Waldman is working with clubs. That's why it's all sold out, because of Julie's leadership. I think that's a major part of it. I also want to tell you that we have started in earnest. We will have complete applications on the website for the Al Watson and Brent Williams Awards. I know that the Brent Williams Award in particular for this club is near and dear to you. I hope David had a positive experience at our virtual pets. I know as always, past RI director John did an amazing job when he was there. But I also want to make sure that you guys are starting to think about 2022, 2023, my year. And knowing this club, I'm sure you already have a nominee. Chessie will be working with you before you know it, because we are excited. That will be the year that Rotary makes history. And Chessie and I are looking forward to whoever the president of this club is to go on our journey with Jennifer Jones. Thanks for letting me come today.
Next up in the meeting, the man you've been waiting for. We missed him last week. Your president, Matthew Brady.
Thank you. Thank you. I did miss last week. I miss you all. Sometimes, we get going. It's like, hey, I want a break. And then when you miss, you're like, wow, it's been 2 weeks. And where have I been? So, Gracie, I appreciate all the assistance that you've been doing this year. And I look forward to your year ahead, as we heard from District Governor-elect. So today's speaker, I was looking over some notes here, and I think his bio from Rotary alone would be a full computer screen in Wikipedia. So it's quite impressive. We have a lot of great Rotarians in this club, in this district. And our speaker today is one from South Florida, but is a loyal Rotarian and a great ambassador for Rotary in many things. He served as president of the Rotary Club of Naples in 1992 to 93, district governor in 69-60 down south from us, and that was in 95 to 96. He was a member of the Rotary International Board of Directors in 2010 through 12, chairman of the executive committee in 2011 through 12. I typically do not read all these details, but it's very important to me to continue that he was twice a delegate to the Council on Legislation and 3 times a member of the RI President Nominating Committee. Served as a Rotary International Member Coordinator, Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, Rotary Coordinator Training Leader, and chair of multiple RI committees. Served as an aide to the 2018-19 Rotary International President. One of the most important things is currently he's a member of Shaping Rotary's Future Committee and a founding member of HANWASH, Haiti National Water, Sanitation, and Hygiene Strategy. And he will serve as the chairman of the 2022 RI Convention Committee that'll be in Houston, Texas. Our club donated to HANWASH in 2018-19 as part of District 6970 support of Rotary International President Barry Rassin. John and his wife Cindy have 3 daughters and 2 grandchildren. And I'll conclude with a tidbit not listed in this lengthy bio, an impressive bio, but something, a connection to our club. He is the godfather of Shane McIntosh, a member of our club, his youngest son. As you know, Shane came from Naples for many years of service down that way. So without further ado, I'm pleased to be back, and I'm pleased to hand over the mic to John Smarge. Thank you.
President Matthew, thank you for that very kind introduction. It exhausts me to hear that. I can't be that old. It's a pleasure to be here at the Rotary Club of Gainesville. I feel as though it's sort of a second home in that I have sent 13 years worth of tuition to Gainesville. I'm very appreciative to see Naomi Williams on the call, as our paths have traveled a long time. Let me share my screen if I may. Okay. As Matthew mentioned, I'm a founding member of HANWASH. HANWASH stands for Haiti National Water, Sanitation, and Hygiene Strategy. What this is a multi-decade program at an estimated cost of $2.3 billion, with the audacious goal of providing clean potable water and satisfactory sanitation to the entire nation of Haiti. Now, I regret to have to begin my presentation with statistics, but I think I have to do that for all of us to understand the dire circumstances we would be under if we found ourselves living in Haiti. But I'll admit to you that the statistics I'm sharing today, I could have done so a year ago, 5 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, because those things have changed a lot in Haiti. Some things remain the same. Only 30% of the people in Haiti have potable water within a 30-minute walk or 500 meters of their dwelling. In the rural villages where most people reside, only 24% actually have access to a toilet. In a population of 11 million people, 2 million practice open air defecation. And as a result of all of these things, waterborne illnesses such as typhoid, cholera, or dehydration through chronic diarrhea will account for 50% of the deaths in Haiti. Waterborne illnesses account for 50% of the deaths. Now, it's not for lack of trying. Half of Haiti's water and sanitation infrastructure is simply broken. The pipes in the ground, the wells in the ground, the pumps above the ground just don't work. See, what's happened over the years is that people have come in, sadly, looking at temporary fixes, short-term relief, rather than looking at what is necessary to actually develop a functioning water and sanitation sustainable system. And then the end result has basically become a charity mentality in Haiti. I will tell you without reservation that charity in Haiti has failed. It has failed. It is time for a sustainable solution for Haiti that can once and for all resolve their water and sanitation dilemma, and then serve as a blueprint for all of us to use in other developing countries. So in 2018, January, HANWASH was established, and your president mentioned Barry Rassin. Barry Rassin, past president, is the chairman of the board of HANWASH. What HANWASH is, it's an umbrella organization that brings together those entities that can assist the WASH sector, the water and sanitation sector in Haiti. The first of these entities are the water and sanitation implementers. These are the non-government organizations referred to as NGOs, who specialize in providing water and sanitation solutions. They might dig wells, they might create city water systems, they might build microflush toilets. The major one that we work with is Haiti Outreach, who has developed our mantra, our basic motto of how we operate. Though we operate with Pure Water for the World, Hope for Haiti, and others, it seems to be expanding each week as we form partnerships. The second of these entities are the donor organizations around the world who are committed to funding those water and sanitation projects. They consist of organizations like USAID, UNICEF, World Vision, and the World Bank, but also include other large governments, France, Canada, Italy, as well as multinational corporations and wealthy families. The third of these entities is DNEPA. DNEPA is the regulatory body whose main responsibility is to regulate water and sanitation in the country of Haiti. I'll tell you that these folks operate outside of the control of the federal government of Haiti. And that's an important comment to make, because it is without doubt, the government of Haiti is corrupt. It is done so because of the constitution that has been established that allows corruption to take place. But these people in DNEPA, on the national basis, and then ORIPA on the regional basis, are conscientious water professionals who truly want to help the people of Haiti. And finally, the last of these entities is, of course, Rotary. And Rotary operates through District 7020, which encompasses Haiti, but also works through the Rotary Foundation and other champion districts from around the world who have adopted the individual communes. So HANWASH is the organization that will bring together the players from around the world to fix what folks have seemed to think is unfixable. Now, I do this speech often in live audiences. I normally ask the question at this point in time, well, what do you think? What does it sound like to you? You think this is good? And the comment I get is, John, this is pretty cool, what you're doing. But why now? Why you? Why Rotary? Why do you think you can do what others have not done and have tried to for decades? I'll tell you, it's because of the way Rotary tackles everything with a systematic business approach. We have worked now for 2 years and 3 months, very carefully, very slowly, making our steps forward. So it begins with our systematic, technically driven approach to gathering current data through community assessments, creating locally, socially driven solutions that result in a community action plan. And I'll tell you, I have in fact said that about 10,000 times in the last 3 years. So let me boil it down to you and tell you what this really means. Let me start first with collecting data. We use our on-the-ground operatives. They might be Rotarians in one of the 22 clubs in Haiti. It might be a Rotaract member, or it might be a member of one of our trusted NGOs. They go into a community armed with nothing more than a cell phone. On the cell phone is an app called mWater. They walk up to a water source. It might be a pump, it might be a fountain, it might be a cistern, it might simply be a creek in the middle of town. They go on the mWater app and they push a button, and through satellite imagery, GPS tracking records their exact coordinates where they're standing. They then test to see if the pump works. If it does, they push green. If it's broken, they push yellow. They get a test kit out. They test to see if it's E. coli poisoned, hitting red if it's not potable. They do this step by step in every single water source in that community. They then know exactly in that community the threshold or the benchmark for water and sanitation. We then get Google Maps, and we lay the Google Maps on top of our mWater app. In this blow up picture, you'll see little black dots. The little black dots represent dwellings. We know that on average, there are 5.5 people in every dwelling. We are now able to look at the community, see the distance from the green, red, and yellow dots, and have a community assessment of where water and sanitation stands. My fellow Rotarians, we have done this so far for 50% of the country of Haiti, step by step. And as late breaking news, we have now signed another MOU with the country of Haiti that incorporates us with UNICEF. And we're going to fund the government to complete the other 50%, which should be done by April or May. They're going to do it with our M-Water app, and they're going to do it under our guidance, teaching them how to do the program. Now, once we have this data, we go to the community. Now here, I am in January of last year in the commune of Cavaillon, which is our first pilot commune. I'm with, in the middle, Fritz Pierre Louis, who's a member of the Rotary Club of Léogâne, and the gentleman in the blue shirt is the mayor of the commune. I'm giving him a Barry Rassin theme tie because I have about 500 of them left over, so I need to get rid of them. But we meet with them and we show them what we have come up with. If you look behind me in that photograph, on the wall is our community assessment. We show them and we say to them, how can we help you to provide potable water to your citizens? You see, we understand our role. We'll do the community assessment. Heck, we'll lay the pipe, we'll raise the $2.3 billion. But for this to be successful, it has to be done by them. It has to be done by community buy-in. We then assign a hand wash ambassador. That might be a member of a local Rotary Club or a trusted NGO, and they together collectively build the community action plan. Finally, we assure that the process embodies the core values of HANWASH. This includes sustainability, transparency, accountability, and a thoughtfully managed pay-for-service system. That's correct. In our program, we're not giving away water for free. If the citizens of Haiti want water, they're going to pay for it. This is the cultural change. This is the buy-in that we have to have from the ground up to make this thing sustainable. We then establish a professional operator, who in this case is a local bank. They collect the funds from the residents. They pass on a portion of those funds to the ORPA in DNEPA, the regulatory bodies, so they can do their job. And they keep the rest for future water system upgrades and repairs. Sounds difficult? Well, I'll tell you, this part's the easy part. The hard part, my friends, is changing the culture of the government to simply do the job they're supposed to be doing, changing the culture of the people, that they're no longer going to get charity, but they're going to pay for the services they demand. And thirdly, the culture of those NGOs. And that probably is the hardest one. They proliferate the landscape, offering what I would say, if you've read the book, they offer toxic charity. Before the earthquake, there were 4,000 NGOs operating in the country of Haiti. After the earthquake, that 4,000 ballooned to 22,000 NGOs, each of them trying to carve out a little piece of Haiti. Each of them not concerned with the mindset of what is best for a country as a whole. Now, I love this photograph. I hate it. It was taken my last trip, January last year, to Haiti. It was outside of school in Lacaille, where the Lacaille Rotary Club was showing us the benches and desks they had purchased for the school. We walk outside and here is a pump built 3 years ago, doesn't work. On the platform, a lawnmower. Doesn't work. But even crazier, if you look north of that pump, that white and blue building is a kiosk connected to the city water system. That doesn't work. So rather than fix the existing infrastructure, some well-wishing NGO, it could be a church group, heck, it could be a Rotary Club, spent $18,000 to put in another well that doesn't work. This happens, my friend, every single week in every single community in Haiti. It's time for a change. It's time for a national sustainable program. Haiti needs HANWASH to do this. And as always, HANWASH needs you. Now, you could continue to support us. I thank you for your contribution in 2018 and 2019. We have some global grants going on right now through the Rotary Foundation. Would love to have your support. But we also understand that probably only about 10% of the funds that we collect and distribute will be through the Rotary Foundation. The rest will be through those large donor organizations I referenced to earlier. So when we partner with them, they expect in return that we pony up some money. So we've established a 501c3 nonprofit in the state of Florida. Would love to have a contribution to that. But though I want your money, and some of you know me and know that pretty much I'm not shy about asking for money. It's probably what I do most. Most folks don't answer phone calls from me much anymore because they know what I'm asking. And though I want your money, there's something I want from you that's more important. I know who you are. I know the sphere of influence that you have, both in the community of Gainesville, but around the globe. You know people who have water and engineering degrees who might help Haiti. You might know an NGO that's currently working in Haiti, who that could come by and come on board HANWASH, and we could partner. So more than anything, what I need from you is I need your advocacy. I need for you to be a part of HANWASH and trumpet our cause. I'll conclude, if I can, by offering a few final thoughts. You saw the photograph of me with the mayor in town a year ago, January, in Cavaillon, our first pilot commune. That meeting was right after our first month of installing the water system in Cavaillon. At that point in time, 33% of the residents of Cavaillon paid their bill. Right now, a year and 2 months later, we're closer to 85% of the residents are paying their bill. What an incredible cultural change. Now, I'll tell you, the cost for our water is less than they were buying it on the street in those little 4-ounce packages. But it's a cultural change. For them to realize if they pay their bill, they have confidence that next month, next week, next year, when they turn their faucet on in their home, water will come in. We also met with some of the large donor organizations, one of which that's really struck me interestingly was the World Bank. The World Bank knows who we are on a global scale from around the world, but the executive general from the World Bank in Haiti didn't know who Rotary was, had no clue what we're about. And he asked me a very interesting question. He said, how long will you be here with your project? You see, he thought of us as Rotary, as one of those 22,000 NGOs who come in each year with a little bit of money, build something like that defunct well in Lakai, and then walk away. We told them that Rotary doesn't do projects, that Rotary does programs. And our program would be done when we're done, when every woman, child, and man in the country of Haiti has access to clean potable water, will be done. In fact, Rotary has a history of it. 35 years ago, some crazy Philippines thought they could immunize the children in their country against polio, and 35 years later, we're still at it. So we left his office only to be called back about 5 hours before we were departing on the plane back to Florida. We met with the executive general, and sitting down, he offered us a grant for $2.5 million on the spot. Now, 2.5 million is a big amount of money, not as big when you're raising 2.3 billion, but it was significant because he understood who we were. He understood Rotary and what we stand for. We stand for impact, integrity, transparency, and sustainability. My fellow Rotarians, this is an audacious goal. It probably won't be concluded in my lifetime, but I'm telling you, no one in the world but Rotary could pull this off, because we do these things. That's what we do. And Rotary is going to do it. We will prevail. So I thank you very much for your kind attention today. I thank you for what the Rotary Club of Gainesville has been doing for its long history and what it will do in the future. I hope you support HANWASH, and may God bless you, and may God bless Rotary. Mr. President, the floor is to you.
We do have some moments for questions. If you have a question here at the Cade Museum, we ask that you raise your hand, and Don Bugos will bring the microphone to you. Also, for those of you watching on Zoom, you can type your questions into chat. We'll start out on the floor. Please stand up, state your name and your question.
Good afternoon. My name is Deborah Newell, and my question has to do with the source of water. I don't know if Haiti has bamboo available, but I happened to read about something in the last few weeks in one of the other countries where they're using some bamboo collection facilities. I guess it looks like an inverted tent, and it collects water out of the atmosphere. And I think also then if it rains, this is in a place where it's fairly arid. And I wonder if there's been any thought given to multiple ways of collecting and holding water and keeping it fresh.
Deborah, thank you for the question. It's interesting because we have a three-phased approach to how we're providing water. Within the larger areas of demographics, larger cities or towns, we're using a basic water system where it's a cistern on the top of a hill, through gravity-fed pipes comes down, it goes into the communities. Those are for the larger populations. As we move out further where that is not efficient, we simply put community access wells. We'll drill a well, and then the community within the 30-minute walk will have access to it. But there are areas, as you mentioned, where those remote areas, a well is not cost efficient. And we do exactly what you're saying. We use catchment processes, or we might simply have a running well, a water somewhere, and then we use a water sanitation system that's within their homes. So we're using every technology, and the simplest of technologies, as you mentioned, to answer the needs of this developing country. But ultimately, we want to bring them to water systems, much like you and I experience right here in Florida, where you turn your faucet on and you get water.
Our next question is from Jenny Van Hart via Zoom. What is a family that cannot afford to pay for the water? Is there some kind of a scholarship program for those who may not be able to pay?
Yeah, great. Another great question. You know, because this thing is, this program is being run by the local community. The local community might know of a family whose goat got stolen, or a family whose husband left, and they know those circumstances. So within the community themselves, they support each other. So we do not provide that, but we expect that within the community, they're going to do it. Now, I'll tell you that we provide water at a penny a gallon, approximately. And as I mentioned earlier, they have been paying for water. They drink water of some sort. And mostly what they pay for is the water in packets or in bottles. Our system's cheaper. So we're actually saving the money. But again, the local community that looks after its own knows those circumstances and answers them. So there are very many cases in Cavaillon, our first pilot commune, where they have been helping hands each other.
Go back out to the crowd. Don has another Rotarian here at the meeting today with a question. Who do you have, Don?
It's Tony Barr. Do you know much about the, after the earthquake down there, when the Red Cross spent $500 million on aid to the Haitians? What became of that money?
I worked with Rotary in a $6.2 million initiative after the earthquake. And at some points in time, we ran across the Red Cross. I've heard those issues, but I don't know them to be true. Personally, I have no experience personally, so I can't say that that's happened, but I will tell you that the government, our government and other governments have done such a disservice in the way in which they've provided aid to Haiti. And I'll give you an example, and I know I'm not skirting the question because I don't know the answer, but I want to tell you an example. During the Clinton administration, and I'm not bashing one side of the aisle versus the other because there's stupidity on both sides of the aisle. During the Clinton administration, he wanted to help out the country of Haiti by a food aid program. The food aid program he provided was giving rice to Haiti. At that point in time, Haiti was a rice positive exporter. They grew more rice in Haiti than they could consume, and they used it as an export funding. We sent rice to them. In fact, we even paid more money to the US farmers than they normally were getting to grow the rice. We sent the rice to Haiti, and then we dumped free rice on it. So all the farmers went out of business because they couldn't compete with free. Eventually, they needed more rice. So the price of rice went up. So those farmers in the United States who were being supplemented were now getting a higher rice price than they were before. And you know where the biggest state in the country is to produce rice? The state of Arkansas. So Bill Clinton was basically funding his contributors, who were rice farmers, to raise the price at the expense of Haiti. And this has happened for decades. The best thing we can do as a government is get out of their way and allow us to do this, but to develop fair market economy in the country of Haiti. Make them pay for what they get. No more free service.
Next question is via Zoom from Richard Allen. Is there a fairly detailed plan summary for the entire project with timelines and details on how the program works in the three types of the target areas, large, middle, and small/remote?
There is, and I can connect you, I can get you with our strategic plan. We are finalizing our condensed business plan. So you can see my name on the screen, and you can get me by just simply emailing john.smarge@rotary.org. But I'll tell you of also interest, we just hired an executive director, a paid executive director as of February. His name is Ryan Rowe. He lives in Montreal. And of interest about Ryan Rowe is I met him 10 years ago when he was a peace scholar, a Rotary peace scholar at UNC Duke, getting his master's degree in public health with a minor in water management. So here he is now 10 years after we gave him this peace scholarship, and he's been traveling the world, including working a year and a half in Haiti. And now he has been employed by us to take this forward. So much of the planning, the business planning, will be completed by him between now and April. But by all means, email me at john.smarge@rotary.org. I will send you links to our Dropbox and the strategic plan.
We'll go back out to the Rotarians here assembled. And I know this gentleman, but please state your name for the Zoom people watching and your question.
Eric Jewell. Hi, John. Good presentation. I guess my question is, when you talk about sustainability, what programs like structure training programs are in place to help folks, for them to help themselves, basically, so they won't need all the assistance from everybody else? And, with you talking about how long it's taken to, to put things in place, there has to be some training of folks over there. I know it may sound like maybe a little bit of a stupid question, but I'd like to know if you have some insight
Now,
on that.
What's interesting, Eric, is that the simplest thing that you and I take for granted, like the fact that we have a utility system within our communities that have engineers and operators and all these people understand the technology. There isn't none of that there. So we are working with other organizations like Operators Without Borders, another NGO who does nothing but train these community operators. We're working with Engineers Without Borders, who are teaching the people in Haiti how to become an engineer and then able to support the economy again. Plumbers Without Borders, and it goes on and on. We are working with all of these other aid agencies and mostly nonprofit educational agencies to teach them how to do this, so that we don't have to have outside people, engineers coming into Haiti to do this. We don't have to have outside water and leak technology people. There isn't a single person in the country of Haiti who can operate the equipment needed to do a leak detection of a pipe. If we do it, we bring people from outside with the technology to do it. That's going to stop. We're teaching these people how to do it. So that's why I'm telling you, this is not a 1 year or 5 year. This might be a 30-year program for us to not only just simply lay pipe. That's the easy part. $2 billion and we're done. Anybody can do that. It's the cultural change and the educational component that goes with this. And we're working with our local Rotary clubs and with the champion districts from around currently North America, but will be around the world, who are partnering to adopt these communes to give them what's needed, both in the water and sanitation, hygiene, but also in education, in medical and economic development, all those things. We're changing the landscape of Haiti. Simply, Rotary is changing the landscape of Haiti.
Our next question is a hybrid, actually, from Julia Phelps and Barbara Hall. Can you speak to the ways that a club, district, or zone can be involved in funding, and how, as individuals, can we help?
I mentioned earlier, individuals or Rotary clubs can help funding by either directly giving to a global grant, again, you ask me, or you ask Cindy Covington in your district, who is vice chair of the board of directors for HANWASH, an integral part. You can, if 6970 itself wanted to adopt a commune, you may, which means you will then take one of our pilot communes and for the next 3 to 5 years, work collectively with the Rotary clubs in that commune with complete dialogue, helping them with community assessments, helping them with the needs that they can identify on the ground. So you can support it that way. So the easiest way is again, a contribution to hanwash.org or HANWASH Inc., or supporting us through one of our global grants.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a nice round for our presenter today. Round of applause for John Smarge.
Thank you very much, John. I was trying to think about some closing words and gratitude, and I was looking at the chat. I'm not sure if you looked at it, but I'm going to read from a dear friend of yours, a dear friend of ours. She posted, "My late husband, Brent, had a chance to visit Haiti as part of a Rotary group and was so taken by the poor living conditions, but mainly by the goodness of the everyday people. Brent and I have had the good fortune to know John and Cindy Smarge, and they are two of the finest, kindest, and most hardworking people for the betterment of Rotary and people throughout the world. And that's from our friend, Naomi Williams, and I thank you. As you're aware, this year, Rotary theme is Rotary Opens Opportunities, and you're not here for me to give to you, and you may already have one, but I would like to send you another theme coin. Rotary Opens Opportunities is a simple thank you and a reminder for the time sharing here today, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you again, John. I neglected to recognize 3 guests zooming in on behalf of John. They labeled themselves, or maybe they were labeled as groupies, but Tom Farrell, Julia Phelps, and Daryl Keys, I believe all from District 6960 down, friends of John, or maybe there's somewhere different, but welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Thank you again, District Governor-elect Jeff Michaelman, for sharing today for the days ahead and the new plate initiative. I know there was some posts online in the chat as far as official links where you could go and do that. Thank you, Lisa Mueller. Thank you for filling in today and helping. Thank you. Checking us all in. There's always so many people that stand up, but thank you for helping out today. You know, I wanted to mention earlier, we had a great board meeting last night. Maybe because I'm like 3/4 done. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little giddy, but seriously, we had a great board meeting. And what was important is we're talking about as we finish the year, not so much about finishing the year, but when we talk about opportunities, trying to find some very exciting things that we can do as a club in the community related to the do-goodery, and look forward to more in the days ahead as we wrap up this year and we finish strong and we lead into another good year. So thank you to all of our board members. Finally, as we wrap up, let's end with a quote. We shall not defeat any of the infectious diseases that plague the developing world until we have also won the battle for safe drinking water, sanitation, and basic health care. Kofi Annan. Thank you, fellow Rotarians. Have a great week.